Hello everyone. It is Thursday, which means it is my day to give you entertainment or knowledge or hopefully something that you take away from this video. This week's topic I actually came up with, and I say that not gloating, but I say that because it is one in which that I feel very strongly towards, because it is basically what discrimination have you faced based on your weight and your appearance, whether you're sorry, there was some lint shit on my computer, gotta get rid of these things. Anyway, because it doesn't matter what your size is, everyone gets bullied. I'm aware of that, and it's not a fat person issue. It's not a skinny person issue. It's an everyone issue. And I brought it up because I think it's something that is very healing when you can discuss the things you've gone through and the things you've faced, and look back on how you felt about those things. And yes, it hurts, and yes, it kind of puts you in a strange mood, but I think for the people, especially on this panel, it helps strengthen us, and hopefully those that are watching our videos get strengthened by this as well, because that's the point. Now, on to the discrimination I have faced. Ever since I was a kid, I was the bigger kid. I was always the short and stocky guy, and I was messed with severely. One thing that kids when I was in elementary school would love to do was they would, hit me and scream, fat ass and all that stuff, and then they'd run away from me because, of course, the thought was, well, the fat guy can't catch me because he's not fast. And I remember the day that I realized that, my anger was a problem, because it is a big problem for me. I work with it every day. Was that kid was doing that, and I just snapped. I'd had enough, and I was determined to catch this guy. I was dead set. And so this kid was one of the fastest kids in my school, and I remember he ran away from me, and I dead sprinted, and I caught up with him. And I remember thinking, I can't believe that I'm this fast right now. And I remember grabbing him and throwing him to the ground, and I remember just hitting him so frequently. And I remember thinking, this is not a good thing. And thankfully I stopped myself. But, a lot of the bullying that I faced as a kid, it was petty stuff, just, fat stuff. What I did fortunately realize was that if you crack jokes about yourself, then there's really no material for the bullies to work with. So that's what I did. I started making fun of myself, and quickly I became the funny kid then. Then it wasn't the fat kid, it was the funny kid. And people like you then. And so that's where I went with my anger. I kind of turned it into comedy. And I didn't really suppress the anger, because the anger is still there. Or rather, I did suppress the anger. Sorry, it's fucking late, and I've been packing for a long bus ride home. Regardless, I just have kind of figured out how to channel it a little bit, and try to deal with the anger and deal with the ridicule, and not get so depressed, because the same with Trip and the same with Kat. I became extremely depressed, extremely self-harming, and my self-harm was more substance. I would drink like crazy. I remember I was like 14 or 15, and I would drink so much. I remember I practically lived with a friend of mine and his dad, and I mean, we would just drink every night, and it was absolutely to hide my own pain. And I just realized that was stupid, and that there are better ways to deal with it. And so that's what I did, And, you know, a lot of people say, I've heard it a lot about bullying, you know, just being a way of life, just deal with it. And I think people don't really understand that bullying does not go away. You know, every day I deal with it. And not to say that people fuck with me, because they really don't very much anymore, but you get the looks, and you know when someone's looking at you what they think. And maybe you don't all the time, but for the most part you do. And I do get looks every day of, you know, like, God, that guy, he's fat, or whatever they think. They think something negative of me. When someone gives you a certain look, you know they're not thinking very highly of you, and it affects you, because you think, you know, what have I done? What's wrong? You know, what the hell is their problem? And so, you know, with me especially, you get very angsty, and you get very, you know, fuck everybody. You know, I don't care about anybody. And I have that big time still, you know. It is what it is, you know. I think it is good to deal with ridicule, in the sense that I think it's not healthy to live in a you know, bubble wrapped world. I think that you do you know, sometimes you do need to get knocked down a little bit to get back up, but I think that the knockdown is not ridicule necessarily, as much as adversity, and adversity is in many forms. And I've kind of turned all that sort of anger and depression that I've gotten from the bullying and the ridicule that I've gotten in my life into just adversity to overcome. And you know, I'm doing all right for myself, going to college. I'm poor, but I'm in college. And I'm doing all right, you know. I've got a good life. So I get, you know, the main sort of thread throughout this whole little story is there's no reason to give up, and that everyone deals with it, and everyone has to deal with that ridicule, and that what separates you know, great people and everyone else is the way in which they overcome it. And geez, this is a long video, but until next week, I will see you.